For those who don't know me, I'm Dylan from BPro, and just wanted to welcome everyone to one of the more interesting Zooms that we've run recently. I'm personally very excited for this one. I love the idea of automation, but a lot of the automation tools in the industry that we work in, they lose the art of what photographers do, what printers do, what creatives do. So, I mean, Lou has just said that she can't hear anything. Is everyone else okay? Yep. Lou, maybe check your speakers and just check you haven't accidentally muted them. Yeah, so I'm super excited by the idea of a tool that can be both automatic and creative and unique. So I'm very happy to introduce Samantha Li, who's the chief photographer from the Infinity Collective and also the Australian brand ambassador for Imagen AI. And we're also joined by Yotam Gil from Israel, who's the founder.
Hey.
That's incredibly exciting. Just some very basic housekeeping. We love questions. And in fact, we're going to give away 1,500 extra editing credits to the person who asked the best question, because we want to encourage some interactivity. But just for maybe the first half an hour, if you've got a question, pop it in the chat and I'll jump in at intervals to run it past the team. We'll then have an open Q&A at the end of the session. So I'm going to pass to Yotam and Sam. I'd mentioned to them that I'm really hoping that we'll be able to go through today the problem that Imagen AI solves and how to very explicitly, like if you walk away from this Zoom this afternoon and think, this is the tool for me, how you can step by step put this into your workflow and get started. So who wants to kick it off, Sam or Yotam?
Let's give it to Yotam first.
Okay. It's all yours.
Hey everyone. First, Dylan, thank you for having us today. It's a great honor. And hi everyone. Good afternoon. We are located in Israel, so it's just 9 a.m. here. We just woke up. Nice to meet you. And I want to first start, Dylan asked about what is the problem we are trying to solve. So I want to tell a short story about how we started. So it all started when my partner Yoav got married and had to wait for a very long time for his wedding photos to come back. Actually about 3 months. And we are both coming from fields of computer vision and deep learning. And we're not used to wait for anything for more than a few seconds. So that was very surprising for us that we had to wait for for so long for the photos. And so basically the problem we started with was as a customer of a photographer of waiting for so long. And then Yoav, my partner, started speaking to his photographer, trying to understand why it takes so long. And as a customer, you're not really aware that editing takes so much time. And actually, according to our discussions with photographers, for every hour shooting, you have about 2 hours of editing, which is crazy, and also crazy that people are unaware of that. And realize that from one hand, editing takes a lot of time. It's really maybe the most time-consuming task you have as a photographer. But on the other hand, you want to keep your personal editing style, so you can't give up on editing the photos your style. So it's really hard to automate. Luckily, both of us at the same time were studying of how to enhance photos and how to use deep learning and AI for that. So it was a very good fit. And we thought that we can actually maybe break this trade-off and have things both personal and automated. So with that in mind, we started developing a tool that can actually get photos which are already edited and understand one's specific editing style and edit with that style. And at the beginning, we had to get, tens of thousands of photos from each photographer to actually get the AI to understand the style. With time, this number decreased, and today we need 5,000 photos. It still sounds a lot, and we keep working on getting this number lower. But AI, I can say it's amazing and it's magical, but it has one limitation, and it is the fact that it needs a lot of data to learn from. So today we need a minimum of 5,000 photos. And basically what the technology does is based on these 5,000 photos that you edited with different lighting conditions, different scenarios, but with the same editing style, the AI can actually understand how you edit and edit personally like you. So that's the main context. After you finish finalizing your photos in Lightroom, you send back the final edits, and the profile keeps learning your style. So it keeps getting more and more accurate and reflecting your style better. It will keep getting more accurate and also move with you. So if your style has been changed, like it has changed like recently, so it will adapt to your style as we go along. Yeah, I think that's the intro.
Yeah, thanks, Yotam. Yeah, out of curiosity, who's using Imagen already? Like, I know when we were talking about this Zoom with people, some people have used it a lot. Other people have encountered it, but maybe not made that jump. Nikki mentioned you use it for weddings. Has anyone else already integrated it?
Is there a reason that Nikki is only using it for weddings only? Do you do any other photography other than just weddings that you feel maybe Imagen may not work for you? Nikki? Maybe she's stepped away.
I can say that the technology is most valuable if you need to batch edit. So wedding is a classic example because you need to edit many photos, and you actually, I mean, if you're not using us, you have to apply some kind of a preset and then go over each photo to adjust and fix, and it takes a long time. So for batch editing is the most valuable. It gives the most value. We know that people are using that for other than weddings, also for portraits, for conferences, for sports event, for pet photography. In some cases, the most valuable asset is the turnaround time. So, for example, for sports event, you really want to have the photos back even while the conference or the sports event is still happening. So many sports photographers are actually shooting the photos, sending to us while the event is still going, and get the photos right away, and can actually show the people the photos while the conference is still happening. Also, people are using it for school photography, for newborn. I mean, any genre that you can think of in which you need to edit a lot of photos.
Yotam, there's been a couple of questions about its applicability to different niches of photography. So Stephanie mentioned real estate photography, but also the question of if a photographer has different styles. So I think, Davin, you'd mentioned like editing a really nice black and white versus color selection from the same shoot. Did you want to chat about that? And even if, is that something we can demo and bring up the Imagen AI interface to kind of show a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, sure. So let me just first answer about real estate. It's working for real estate. We still have one feature that we are not supporting today. We are planning to support in the future, which is HDR, which is very like most of the real estate photographers are using that. So, but we definitely work for color correction of real estate. So if you want just the color correction, it could be a great solution. If you're looking also for the HDR feature, then it might take a few more months for us to get there. About the black and white, so we are not doing the selection today between which photos. It's not automatic, so we are not selecting by ourselves which photos should be edited black and white and which photos should be edited with color. But it is very easy for you to check which photos you want to send to a black and white profile and which photos you want to send to a color profile. One thing I didn't mention is that since we know that not all photographers have 5,000 photos in hand to teach the profile, there are also what we call talents profiles. So talents profiles are professional photographers, top-tier photographers that we partnered up with. They built a very strong and accurate profile based on hundreds of thousands of photos. And you can actually edit right away with any of these profiles. So with that, let me share my screen for a second. And I want to show you first, what you're going to see now is actually the first time we demo that. It's the new version. It's going to be live in a couple of days on our website. If anyone has already tried Imagen AI, so you would see this version, which I'm showing here on the top. Can you see my screen? Just, yeah, okay. So this is the current version, and this is the new version. Just for a second to show the talents profiles. So we have today 10 talents that we are working with. And people from the US, Australia, Italy, Israel, and Mexico with different styles. And you can actually see the samples from each of these photographers. You can read a little bit about the photographer and see examples for his editing style. And you can right away, without building a profile, edit with any of these styles. With that said, I think the most value you'll get is from creating your own profile. So we recommend people to start and just see how it looks with any of these profiles. I mean, according to what you like and what you love, and then actually build your own profile. So how it works. So when you just start, you go to My Profiles. You can click Create Your Own Profile. We will show you some guidelines on how to build the perfect profile. Perfect profile is the one that would be most accurate to your editing style. And basically, as I mentioned, AI needs a lot of examples, and this example needs to be consistent as possible. So 5,000 is the minimum, but if you have more, the more the better. And make sure to, from one hand, include a variety of environments and lighting conditions. So if you want us eventually to edit for you, both indoor and outdoor, you know, dark and light, winter and summer weddings. So make sure to include this in the training data, and make sure to have the photos edited in a consistent style. So we have photographers who like recently changed their preset. So that's not very good. You need to make sure that all the photos were edited consistently, and then the AI would become most accurate. Then you just name the profile. So I can call it my first profile. And I need to choose color or black and white. So that relates to your question. We have different profiles for color and black and white. If I want to train my own black and white profile, I would need 5,000 black and white photos, which I know it's more challenging to have. So most of the profiles are color profiles. And then I need to choose, how do I shoot? If I shoot RAW or JPEG. And this is an important note here. This is really how you shoot, not how you export your photos finally. But if you shoot RAW or if you shoot JPEG, I think that 95% of the photographers we work with shoot RAW. Okay, so I click Create. And then what I need to do is just select Lightroom catalogs that contain my edited photos.
Webinar.
So So I can do that from like couple of catalogs, so just one. It really depends on my workflow. For example, I choose one catalog and can select which folders I want to include. And again, this set of photos are the photos that are going to be used for the AI to understand my style. I'm going to name this set of photos, and this is just for your reference later, so you can understand what you already sent. So for example, my 2021 weddings. I can also choose which photos I want to send. If my culling system is editing only the 5-star photos, then I only want to send the 5 stars photos in my catalog. So I can remove the star rating. I can see the number of images updates here. I can also send only the green ones, only the non-rejected ones. So I can actually choose according to my culling method. I click add, and now I can keep adding more and more photos to this submission. I can choose which folder I want to send, and I give it also a name. My weddings, this would be my weddings 2022, and click add. Click add, and then I upload. Once I get to 5,000 photos, I can actually click the next button saying train my profile, and then it will take between 2 and 3 days for us to create your profile. You'll get an email that everything is ready and you can start editing with that profile. At that point, you can go to projects, create a new project, choose a catalog that you just imported the photos to. And now you can also choose an AI profile to edit with. So I have a couple of talent profiles here, and I have my own profile, which is called default profile. I call it usually by the name of the project or the event. So for example, my last project, and I can also choose if I want to crop and straighten the photos. Again, I can choose which photos I want to send here, and I click add. Now I can click upload, and everything will be uploaded to our clouds. Now it's only one photo, so it will be very, very quick. And that's it. And now this project is being processed on the cloud. It takes about 1 second per photo. So if you send 1,000 photos, it will take about 20 minutes. And next I will get an email saying the project is ready. And I can also see some status here saying that the project is ready, and I can actually download that. I don't want to wait now for the project to be ready, so I can just click download edits. I moved, okay, and click download edits, click continue. Sorry, the catalog has been moved since I edited that. Let's look at this one. Okay, so now the download of the edits is being completed. The download of the edits is very quick because we only download the metadata for each photo. So we don't actually have to download photos, we just download the editing parameters. I can click open Lightroom, and I will see all the photos in that Lightroom catalog already edited with my style. So in this case, I chose a specific style. It's a catalog of only one photo. And I can see this photo is edited with the specific style I chose for that. Like I said, all the sliders are moved. I can see that it's being cropped and straightened, and that's it. Now I can go on and adjust if the style is close to mine, but I need a little bit more exposure, a little bit less contrast, and I go back to the software, and I can actually send the final edits. So I go to the projects, upload final edits, and this is a very important step because we want the profile to keep learning your style. So by uploading the final edits, we make sure that this profile keeps learning you and keeps evolving with your style. Just one quick note here. If you download the application today, this is what you'll get. So this is only for like the next week, but this is like a more simpler user interface. You just have teach to create your profile, and then when your profile is ready, you can edit with this profile, but by clicking this edit button here. That's it, I think.
Thanks, Yotam. I might throw to Sam. Coincidentally, Sam actually is my photographer. So on Sunday, she did a portrait shoot with my partner and I. She's done a lot of our family members. She's done a lot of our staff. And I wondered, Sam, if you wanted to talk a little bit about, as a practicing photographer, how you incorporate this into your kind of editing, delivery of images, and how it's changed what you do. Oh, you'll need to unmute.
Hi, everyone. So I'm not sure, quite a few of you actually know me in this group. We're friends, Erica and everyone there. So you probably know that I'm also one of those crazy photographers that's quite prolific. So I don't just give my clients or my friends who I take photos for just the 10 to 15 odd photos. I'm one of those crazy people that give like 600 from a 1 hour session. And so before I found Imagen, I used to take hours and hours, like literally it would take me at least 2 weeks to go through a gallery and edit it. And because I'm picky and I want to make everything look perfect, it would take me forever. Since I found Imagen, my workflow has decreased to within literally, I'd come back from a shoot, I'd upload it to, after I've culled it, culling now takes less time because I know what I want. So with my 1,000 photos, with Dylan's shoot, I did, I think, 1,800 photos in that little time span. And I edited it down to I culled it down to around about 1,000 photos. So that 1,000 photos I then sent to Imagen AI, and it came back in 20 minutes, and then they're all pretty much ready to go and to show. And then from that point to edit and put up onto my online gallery to distribute to my client. So essentially my workflow that used to take me 2 weeks to get done for a single portrait session now takes me probably less than an hour to 2 hours. For my weddings, I can literally deliver a full day wedding, 10 hours with 2 shooters. I can deliver it within 48 hours if I'm inclined. Although I have said that in some groups who probably in the same groups as me, I do tend to sit on it for 2 weeks. I do deliver the sneak peeks within 24 hours, but I do sit on the entire wedding day collection for about 2 weeks, because I find that if you are shooting a lot of weddings, there is peak seasons and non-peak seasons, and then you'll find that your clients may ask, how come they got their photos faster and I only got mine 2 weeks later? So, but it has increased my ability to get my work-life balance back. I get to spend more time with my kids. I get to read my books. I get to work with Imagen now. Whereas before, with the amount of photography that I did, I wouldn't have had this time if I didn't have it. Does anyone have any questions about what they want to do regards to how they want to implement Imagen into their workflow, or if they have any questions?
Sam had some good questions, and I haven't actually seen my 1,000 photos from Sam. So yeah, I'm quite intrigued. Sam asked about using it for, say, the bulk of the wedding day photos, and but not necessarily like the individual portraits, and why you might use it for the bulk and why you might not. I don't know if that makes, who wants to answer that one?
So why wouldn't Sam use it for the entire gallery rather than just the individual portraits?
So like it works equally with bulk shots as more sort of posed and specific ones?
Well, the AI is actually intuitive, so it creates, it learns the way you edit. So therefore, it will take in each individual image and edit the way you would edit. So if you edit your single portrait photos in a certain way, and then you edit your location photos in a certain way, and your reception photos in a different way, the AI actually learns through each gallery that you've edited in the past, and whatever you submitted to the AI and it's learning, it actually edits individually to cultivate to the way you would edit in that way. It's not a preset, it's not a blanket method and where you just slap on a preset and it does the same settings and parameters as it would for all of your images. It learns how you edit each scenario and then edits it and turns it out as if it was you. So there would be no reason why you wouldn't edit the whole gallery through Imagen AI and only pick certain images. Does that make sense?
I can say from the technical side, so AI will get very good with things that it's seen a lot of times. So if you use the like both portraits and any kind of photos to train the AI, it will actually understand how you edit each different scenario. And for me, I always picture that like, teaching a small boy. If you show this boy enough like examples of a cat and a dog, they can actually distinguish very well between them. So once you show the AI enough photos of, portraits, then it can actually edit portraits really well.
Perfect. Sam also had a follow-up question about low light photos. So obviously, if you're shooting a wedding, you have a range of lighting situations. Often later at night, they're going to be low light. How does the AI handle that?
So with different lighting conditions, the AI actually adjusts itself to learn how you do your white balance, your exposure, your tone curves. It does more than the presets, because with presets, it only does that one standard blanket. But with the AI, it actually looks at each scenario that you photograph in, and it learns how you would bring up the exposures on low light situations. And it looks at whether you prefer like more contrast and tones in certain specific portraiture type of settings where you have used off-camera flash or no flash at all. It actually adjusts to how you edit. So it does learn individually how each different scenario works. So if you were, example, a event photographer and you only deal with low light, it will actually, with how you have the different disco lights and all of that, it learns how you edit that way, and then it replicates that. Does that answer the question?
Yotam, for sort of low light scenarios, does it need enough examples? If that makes sense?
Yeah, that's basically the same answer. So
yeah,
I mean, the AI, we give the AI the photo, we feed the photo to the AI, and it then determines which type of photo it sees, and can actually handle different types of scenarios, different type of photos, in case it has seen examples for that before. So yeah, it's, I mean, basically the same answer. Once it's seen enough examples of low light photos, it can actually handle them very well. And we don't really know what's happening inside the AI. I mean, once you teach it, it's like, something which we cannot interpret. We don't know what it's looking for, what it's doing. We just know that it learns very well how to handle each different scenario.
Perfect.
It also, the program has the ability to keep learning. So after you've had it edited through Imagen AI, and if it is not at the capacity as you want it to be perfect, maybe it's just hit it by 70%, you have the ability to fine tune it and teach it more, teach it how the final edits that you've tweaked, you submit it back to fine tune, the AI then learns again how to further make itself more perfect for you. So over time, it will eventually get to a point where you would literally be able to send it to AI and then have a quick look through, and then it can be completely uploaded with very little tweaks whatsoever, because it's continuously learning. And if you change camera systems, which is something that some photographers have asked in the past, if you change camera systems, again, you have to submit those new photos where you've used a new camera system, and it will again keep learning. And the beauty of this is it's like your own very own personal assistant that does it in light speed, that's with you all the time, and they will continue to learn how you edit, how you like your preferences, how you like to straighten your photos, how you prefer to crop. So it is a constant learning experience, and it can constantly perfect itself until you are absolutely 100% in love with it, which is what has happened with me. One other question here, someone was asking, is if they use one of the talents, can they then learn to tweak it to mold the talent to its own style? And yes, you can. I think that was Sylvie. Yes. Sylvie, did you want to?
I see many questions here about local adjustments or skin smoothing or retouching. So I want to relate to that because that's actually something we are working on. Today, we are doing color correction, which is global to the photo, and crop and straightening. But in the next couple of months, we're going to also be supporting local adjustments, which means that we actually spot a specific place in the photo, whether it's faces or anything in specific, and edit that a little bit differently. So I would love to ask the people here if you can just write on the chat, what is the percentage of photos that you think, I mean, I know it's a hard question, that you actually do local adjustments for? Is it like, 5%? Is it like 90% that you actually go and do local adjustment for every photo? 100%, okay. So thanks for that. Okay, wow, that's really diverse answers.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I'm happy to see that most of the answers are like either many of them or none, like almost none or almost everything. So.
By the way, if we miss your question, we're saving down the chat, and when we send out the recording, I'll ask Sam and Yotam to pop in some answers for anything that we've missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that came up a lot when I was talking to photographers in preparation for this workshop is that how to get started. So like I talked to a couple of photographers, in fact, who had been incredibly interested, but signed up and then struggled at that point to think, what do I do if I don't have exactly 5,000 photos? What do I do if my images are split across 100 different catalogues? Like if people left the Zoom today and thought, I want to try this out, what would be the ideal process to get started?
So I think that first of all, if you don't have 5,000 photos, you can definitely start with one of our talents. And we have like 10 different styles today. So, I mean, you would probably find yourself in one of the styles. And I actually saw one of the questions before about, personalizing the talent's profile to your style. So you can definitely do that. You can edit with the talent profile, do the tweakings and adjust it to your style, send it and then send it for your profile. So use the option to create a new profile, use the edits that you just edited with a specific talent, and use that as a base for your personal profile. So that's definitely possible. So that's one way to go. Another way is just to keep collecting edit photos until you reach 5,000. And another way is just to use the talents profiles. I mean, if you find yourself in one of them, it's also a very good way to edit your photos.
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Sam, in terms of your own experience getting started?
I found that finding 5,000 photos, I know it sounds really daunting, but because I used to shoot for different companies, I actually didn't edit a lot of my own photos. But you will find that if you go back and you look at your images, 5,000 is not really that difficult to find. if just generally, if you're a wedding photographer, that's basically 2 weddings. So if you know that you have the style, or you feel that maybe you don't have the full 5,000, just have a look and maybe even do a shoot of your own, a model shoot or something, and then shoot prolifically. Spend maybe a day just editing it to the way you think it's perfection. I would probably even go out, do a different lighting scenario as well. Maybe do, if you feel that you do off-camera flash or on-camera flash type of photography, low light, I would do several shoots and then edit it, submit it. You'll get the 5,000 photos. If this is your business, I would take the time to try and create my style and my creator profile. And if you feel that's sort of like a really hard sort of hill to get through, like Yotam says, find the talent that melds with your style, edit it, submit it. You can get the 5,000 photos easily and create your own profile. And of course, if it doesn't look the way you want, you can always roll it back and do it again.
Just as a bit of a
I saw
Dylan
just sorry, you just asked before about if you have many catalogs. So that's not a problem. I mean, we know that some photographers have one catalog that includes everything, and others have catalogs which are, a different catalog for each project. So you can definitely, everything is working. You can just choose one catalog and choose all the folders inside, or you can just upload many catalogs to the same profile.
Perfect. There was just a quick question, Yotam. Somebody asked about the privacy of the photographer's data. And obviously, if you've got a unique editing style, you might be worried that it would be reused in another context. Do you want to have a quick chat about that?
Yeah, sure. So that's a really good question. We treat every profile we create as the IP of the creator. So if you created the profile, it's yours and only yours. No one else can use that. No one else can see that or can see any examples of that. So, it's your IP. If you're asking about the talent you work with, so these are photographers we actually partnered up with. We liked their profiles, and they get royalties for each photo edited with their style. So that's all with their consent. But I mean, no one could ever use or see your profile without your consent or without you wanting to share this profile. And one note about that, we also have plans in the future to enable some kind of a less moderated marketplace for editing styles. So if you build a very good editing style, you can actually say, I want to allow other photographers to use that, and people can actually use that, and you'll get some another maybe revenue channel from selling your editing style.
Perfect.
So Sam actually had a question about costing of per image. So our costing is 5 cents US per image. It's a blanket sort of costing across. We do have a subscription style, which is $7 US if you do not use Imagen during that period of time, that month, and then that will then get credited back if you then start editing again with us, and then that goes back into your editing costing. Of course, you'll start here with 1,500 edits, so that should be quite a lot for you to begin to have a trial with. And also, yep.
I was just going to say, the other question we get a lot is about where Imagen fits into the workflow. So if you think about a photographer's workflow from, taking the shot to delivering the images, what are the parts that Imagen can replace? What can't it replace?
Imagen actually replaces, so Imagen actually replaces the bulk part of the workflow, which is the editing. What used to take everyone most likely hours to do, then Imagen takes that out of the mix and creates it in 20 minutes or less, depending on how much or how prolific you are in taking photos. Does that sort of answer what we're asking here?
Yep. So I guess
workflow.
Yeah, export to Lightroom, pop it up into Imagen, bring it back down, do your tweaks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can either find it through when you're uploading, you can either just put it into like in the search parameter for recents. It connects directly to your Lightroom, so you can actually select it, or you can actually pull up the recents one where you can pull up the latest Lightroom catalog. It's quite instantaneous. So, but you do need to close your Lightroom when you upload it. Isn't that correct, Yotam?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This might be a question for Yotam. What does it do with color profiles that are embedded in the image as part of the editing process?
So that's a good question. There are two kinds of profiles, camera profiles and creative profiles. So as for the camera profiles, we will apply them automatically for you on your photos. If you have a creative profile, then you would need to set it manually for all your photos once you get the edits. We also have a feature coming up, I think in about 2 weeks, that will apply the profile automatically for you. Until then, just when you get the photos, you just need to apply a creative profile for all of your photos, and this is all you need to do when you get back the photos.
We just had a quick question from Angie about people who use Photoshop as part of the editing process, or even the primary editing process. How would the workflow work in that context?
I'm sorry, can you just say that again?
Oh, Angie was asking about the use of Photoshop as part of her workflow. So if you're not doing all your editing in Lightroom, in fact, because a lot of photographers will do like the initial edit in Lightroom, bring it to Photoshop, bring it back.
Okay, so inside Lightroom, you actually have the ability to edit in. So you can actually go into Photoshop, but you can go from Lightroom itself. Once you edit in from Lightroom, once you finish your edit in Photoshop, it actually brings it back into Lightroom, and that edit is still back into Lightroom. So therefore it still learns, the AI will still learn if you did that through the process. It's not, some photographers prefer to just export the image and then open it up into Photoshop. But the best way to do this and to ensure that your AI is learning how you edit is to actually edit in from Lightroom and then click on edit in Photoshop. And then once you saved it, it'll ask in Photoshop whether you want to save it back to Lightroom. So that's how you should be doing it.
Perfect. In the last 10 minutes before we wrap up, did anyone have any other questions? Or did Yotam, did you want to mention anything else? Or
I just want to mention that we are here. Our main goal is to make photographers' life easier and more productive. And that was the main thing we started with, and that's what goes with us, like when we move forward with the company and with building more stuff, building more features. So if you feel you have something that holds you back, that takes a lot of your time, that you think that can be automated, we want to hear that. I mean, want to hear about that. And it could be any aspect of your work. It could be like today it's editing, but we are thinking of any part of your workflow as a photographer. You know, even think about communication with your clients, marketing, anything you can think of that you feel like you're spending a lot of time on, and you can actually get the help of technology. We are here to hear about it.
So Angie was asking, how does you do the edit into Photoshop? If you're a part of our Imagen AI group, which I'll put a link in later on for you all, feel free to join. We actually do lives quite often in the group with Scott, who can answer these actually and probably show you on the day if you want to have a look at how that function can be done. So quite often joining us inside the group, we can actually personalize and answer any questions directly and show you, maybe even maybe do a quick little video to show you how we can edit. So we can do that for you by joining the group.
Definitely. And also, once you sign up, you also get an email with a demo link. So you can actually schedule a 15 minutes demo to help you get started. So feel free to contact us and to meet with one of our customer success agents, and they could really help you getting started.
Yes, I remember my demo link.
Yeah, we had it together.
Yes, I had it with Yotam. I was like, whoa, I got to speak with Yotam personally, and he had to fix all my problems. And it was, I mean, not that because I work for you guys now, but my experience was why I was so passionate about it, because literally straight after my little demo link with you literally went in and looked at the back end of my edits and my creator profile, and you looked at how many edits I did and you worked on it. The support team that we have is really amazing. I would say it's come on par with BPro's service, customer service, which I also am in love with. So if you love BPro's customer service, you'll love Imagen's support team as well. They're very much the same, and super excellent.
There was two other very quick questions. Let me just go back and find them. Oh yeah, I was interested in this as well. How does the AI decide how to crop?
So cropping and straightening is not personalized. So it's something that is trained with millions of photos, and it is not personalized, unlike the color correction, which is personalized for each photographer. Cropping and straightening is the same for everyone. And we get amazing feedback for straightening. We get also about cropping. Some people really like it and it saves a lot of time for them. Some people say it's a little bit too aggressive, so it cuts also like some parts which are more necessary. And we are working on improving the cropping. So give it a try, see if you like it, see if it works for you. If not, just have in mind that we are working to improve that and maybe make it less aggressive.
Perfect. And Eloise had a question about, in her editing process, she removes images. If I understand Eloise, do you remove them from your Lightroom catalog as part of the editing process? I don't know if you want to jump in and explain the question a little bit more. Oh, okay. So she takes it out of Lightroom. Would Imagen AI still be able to find the images? I think is what she was trying to clarify.
So Imagen AI learns from directly inside the catalog. So when you're uploading, you're loading the catalog itself. So not actual images that you load into a catalog. You actually have to edit show the AI the editing process of how you edit it. So yes, you would actually need to edit in Lightroom rather than exporting and then bringing it back in a ton of images into one catalog. It won't learn if you've just imported 5,000 images into one catalog. It actually needs to see the editing process.
There was also a quick question now
Can
about.
I just jump in? Sorry.
Yeah. So you go ahead, Eloise.
Sorry, I've had COVID, so I'm not had my camera on. I was feeling a bit. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, I don't have much stuff stored on my laptop, and I've changed catalogs, and I only have in my catalog, my current catalog in the Lightroom, like maybe 5 shoots that I'm working on. And once I finish with those shoots, I'll then delete the folder. So if I've got a catalog that's I'm not using currently and don't have the photos on my computer or backed up anywhere, like, is it still going to know the data from the catalog, or do I have to have it all sort of on my computer and in Lightroom?
Working from the DNGs.
So basically, yeah, basically it really depends if you create smart previews. If you create smart previews, we can use these. But if you didn't create smart previews, we need the original photos to be connected to Lightroom. So if you have them on a hard drive, you can go back to the catalog and reconnect them to the photos and just, locate the photos on the hard drive and then use it. Or even creating the smart previews and then use the catalog. But we have to have the photos, because the AI needs to basically see the photo and the editing parameters.
Perfect. We might wrap it up very shortly. Any last questions? It's an ideal opportunity given that we've got both Yotam and Sam.
Yep. So Davin was actually asking, would we be able to compare them after the fact through Lightroom? Not quite understanding what that was regards to. Are you saying, can you see the before and after before AI change the image? Because you know that you can actually see the pre and post in your Lightroom.
Apologies, that was me answering to Liesl on the same question.
Oh, okay.
So Lisa had asked whether you could see the before and after within Imagen, or you could only see it once you'd re-downloaded the images.
You'd have to see it once you're re-downloaded the images to Lightroom to be able to see the before and after. The AI doesn't show you the images. You see everything back into your Lightroom catalog.
Perfect. That sounds like we've covered most questions. I have a feeling we've missed a couple because there was a period where the questions were moving really quickly. We will go back over it and then we'll, oh, actually, sorry, Yotam, there was one last question for you. Would you consider in the future subscription pricing? So like a bundle pricing per month rather than per image pricing? Someone earlier asked that and I forgot to pass it on.
So first, we're open to any change. So we constantly keep about how to change and how to simplify. Actually, the pricing we have today is we just changed it, I think 1 week ago, to simplify things. It was more complicated with it really depended on how many photos you edit each month, and we decided to have a flat fee of 5 cents per photo. We did that after a lot of thinking about to be aligned with photographers' business model. So once you shoot an event, you get paid for that, and it's easier for you to spend money. We didn't want to have, since like our business is really seasonal, and you have months in which you don't shoot any photos, then we didn't want anyone to pay in months he doesn't do anything. So we wanted to be like per photo to just be aligned with the time that photographers gets paid. But again, everything is subject to changes, and we keep thinking. So just bring it up on emails for the support, and we definitely are open to changes.
So Tracy was also asking whether it would suit newborn and baby photographers who predominantly work in Photoshop. So if you require to have sort of fine Photoshop liquefy, skin smoothing, background removals, and sort of like layering, then the AI won't be able to do that, because whatever you edit, it has to be through Lightroom. So it would only suit most likely photographers like lifestyle photographers that edit predominantly in Lightroom, that don't do fine retouching or complicated sky removals and things like that. So Tracy, if it's for you in your studio, then it wouldn't really suit if you needed to do the background changes and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the AI wouldn't be able to help you at this point. Yotam says we might be able to in the future, right?
Yeah, and I see someone asked about whether it cost you any money for the first training. So the training is completely free. You can create your profile for free, test it on 1,500 photos, see if it works for you, and then you can decide. I mean, if it's valuable for you, you can sign up, you can subscribe. Hopefully it will. If not, then not. But the creating of the profile is completely free.
Perfect. We might wrap it up there. We'll, as normal, we'll send out a recording sometime in the next 24 hours. We'll try and provide some of the information that we missed. But I just really wanted to take an opportunity to thank both Yotam and Sam for taking the time to connect in. The time taken to edit is something that we hear from every photographer. like we get hundreds of calls, hundreds of emails every week. And if you look at what the biggest stumbling block for people and the bit that they generally hate the most, it's the editing. Hence being so intrigued to do this Zoom. We're also very curious to hear from you if you leave this Zoom and test out Imagen, like jump on our group. Would love to hear about what kind of results you get, good or bad. And I know Yotam and Sam would be very open to the feedback as well. So yeah, thanks again, Yotam and Sam. Any last words before I wrap it up?
Thank you for having us. It's been amazing. And please keep in touch, let us know if anything, any question, we are here to answer. And just remember to use the link from the group so you can actually get the extended trial of 1,500 photos.
Yes.
Oh, and also I promised some free credits for the best questions. There's been some great questions, but I think Davin, you've asked some really good ones in multiple areas. So we'll send you an email separately afterwards. So yeah, thanks again, everyone. And if you're curious, we've got Zooms almost every week on different topics. So we'll pop that link out when we send you the recording as well. Have a great afternoon.
Nice talking to everyone. Bye.
Nice talking to you.